go best friend, go best friend, 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 best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
Ah, yes. You've seen the title, so you already know what we're covering today. A villain who went on a generational run in his respective anime. That boy Garou, the hero killer. So throughout the last couple of weeks, I've been putting out some polls to see who everybody wanted me to cover. And although there were a shit ton of names from different animes, one that stuck out to me was this man Garou, because I haven't done a video on him yet. And I know I usually save this for the end, but we hit 1.5K subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of y'all, man. But hey, enough talking, let's get into the video. So our video starts off at essentially the government hero building, and there was a large meeting that had been called. Because for those of y'all who don't watch One Punch Man, the crime rate of the city had skyrocketed and there weren't even enough heroes to solve it all. And so rather than the head council carefully picking out the next upcoming heroes to help defend it, they thought it was a smart idea to call a meeting with at least the top 100 criminals and try to convert them to the good side. Now I don't know what council member approved this dumb shit, but you already know it's not about to end well. And it didn't make the situation any better that head council had hired 3 heroes to control the whole crowd. I mean, look at them. You got fake ass Mad Hatter, Roy Mustang clone, and I don't even know what the third dude is. Bro's just ugly. But anyways, here's where we're introduced to our main focus of the video, that man Garou. Because although all the other criminals put up to potentially become a hero, Garou said, nah, fuck all that. I'm just here to beat the shit out of everyone in this room. Which actually brings us to our first fight of the video, Garou versus the Hero Association. So after watching all this unfold, Mad Hatter said enough of this and pulled up on Garou. But you already know Garou was not going for this, because after he yoked Mad Hatter up, he dodged a punch from that big nigga and somehow hit him and broke his arm. And after he knocked bro out, this fake ass Roy Mustang had shot a blast at Garou, but Garou wasted no time, dashed and took his whole arm off. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing Garou put in work not even 5 minutes after his reveal was kind of crazy. And on top of that, he exposed Roy for not even using his hands for the blast. Bro had an arm cannon the whole time. He's a fraud. And so now it cuts over to the official that caused all this, but it was too late, because as he was calling for help, that man Garou had finished off every other villain who was in that room. And the only reason he even thought about leaving the official alive was so he could spread the word that that man Garou the hero killer was on the loose. And yeah, that nigga just fled the scene. And so later that day, we get dragged to the forest and we see this man Garou pressing a C-tier hero, being that man Moomin Rider. And generally, if you look at this man Moomin Rider, I mean, yeah, he doesn't look like the strongest, fastest. I mean, he has a bike and he's wearing a helmet, but yeah, bro is fried if there's no backup coming his way. But luckily enough, there was backup, and it turned out to be the Tank Top Boys. So after seeing everything unfold, one of the Tank Top Boys tried to press Garou, but Garou punched the shit out of him and knocked the band-aid off his face. But right as he was emoting and about to finish him off, somebody came and punched the literal shit out of him. And it was none other than the rank 12 hero, that boy Tank Top Master. And my first time watching this, I was hyped because yeah, we saw Garou run through those weak-ass A-class heroes and criminals, but this time we get a rank number 12 in the world hero, and we're about to see what he could do. And Tank wasted no time and punched the ground, creating a massive-ass shockwave that stunned Garou. And while he was stunned, took this opportunity to pull up and truck the absolute shit out of that man Garou, sending him flying. But you already know Garou was not finna go out like that and did a little superhero landing with some damage. And the nigga just rose up and started smiling like a weirdo. And so right as Tank was about to go in for the kill, that dumbass nigga Moomin Rider got in the way and got his shit rocked. But surprisingly enough, that man Moomin Rider had ate that punch and tried to tell Tank to give him a chance to reform. Because his logic was that if Garou admitted he was wrong and dropped everything right then and there, that everything would be okay. Now I want to remind y'all that I'm usually an unbiased and reasonable person, but even on paper, this shit sounds terrible. Because we're not just finna sit here and act like Garou didn't wipe all those hundreds of criminals in that one room and kill those 3 heroes. Granted, they were some scrubs, but still. And although Garou turned around and started walking, bro said, fuck, I look like going out like this, and was ready to attack. But Tank knew what was up and landed a big ass hit on that man Garou, but he hit him with a full counter instead. And in the same sequence, that man Garou activated Takeover and started piecing the literal shit out of this man Tank. And I'm not gonna lie, if I was Tank right now, I'd be raging. Because for a split second, he had Garou in the bag, and then that man Moomin Rider came in and screwed up all the motion. And at this point, bro just looks like an absolute demon. But realizing he fucked up, Moomin Rider tried to make things right, but it did not work out because Garou took him off his bike and started slamming his head in the pavement. And although I respect his efforts, that man Moomin Rider sold the whole clip. Fire that nigga the next morning if he's even still alive. And for those of y'all wondering what happened to the rest of the tank tops, just know they were found by that man Bang and his brother the next morning. And so for those of y'all who don't watch One Punch Man, I'm sure you're probably wondering why this nigga Garou is so overpowered. And that was because when Garou was a child, he was always so weak and sickly, and bro just wanted to become stronger. So when he took the journey to Grandmaster Bang's dojo, learned S-tier fighting mechanics, and became a pro at it, instead of using it for good, bro said, nah, fuck all that, and started dropping heroes with it. Granted, he never came out of any battle unscathed, and eventually those injuries started to pile up. But here's where things start to get interesting, because while Garou thought that he was safe and had time to regenerate, it turns out the government had found his location and sent 8 high-tier heroes to go and capture him. Which actually brings us to our next fight of the video, Garou versus the Avengers. So the Avengers wasted no time and didn't even run the runs. They just started trying to dump this man Garou off rib. But you already know Garou was no scrub and was already out here weaving everything they threw at him. Until Toad spun back a second time and tripped Garou up, which let Smiley Man throw a big ass ball at him. But Garou locked in and used his ability to deflect the ball, and that shit ended up crushing Toad. And my first time watching this, I was hyped because based off that first sequence, I already knew this man Garou was about to cook. And while Smiley Man's ball was still in the air, he cut the rope, took the ball, and used it as cover from Gun shooting at him. So as he was taking cover, that man Garou had an idea, got up and punched the ball right at that man Gun, knocking him out. But with a 50-pound ball just bouncing at full speed, that man Knight took it upon himself to break it, not knowing Garou was right behind that shit. And Garou didn't even hurt bro, he just used him as a meat shield against that archer's weak-ass arrows. And so we've reached a part of the video where y'all are really going to spectate some dumb shit. Because fake-ass Gohan picked up rocks, threw them at Garou, which he caught and threw them at the archer, knocking him out. And I'm not gonna lie, if I was Archer right now, I'd be raging, because how are you gonna throw rocks at somebody who's been dodging bullets, arrows, and 70-pound balls moving at the speed of light? And so after realizing the shit that he just did, fake-ass Gohan tried to run, but that man Garou was on it and started pressing him. But the second Gohan got an opening, he grabbed Garou, but that shit did not work because Garou punched the shit out of him and kept beating him up. And this led Stinger to crash out, but Garou was not going for it. He was attacking, knocked the absolute goofy out of him. And I'm not gonna lie, after that, I felt bad for that boy Stinger, because he didn't end it off there. He put Stinger in an infinite air combo, which, as you would imagine, led both of them to go unconscious. And so after dropping 7 of those 8 heroes that pulled up on him, it was only right Garou and Death Gatling got to run their ISO for game. But when Death Gatling charged it up and shot it, that man Garou activated Takeover one more time and was blocking everything. And after completely running out of bullets, that boy knew he was cooked, and that boy Garou just put an end to it, which ends our fight with Garou taking the dub. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, it seemed like people low-key forgot about One Punch Man, so it was refreshing making a video on it again. Also, I gotta remind y'all again that we hit 1.5K subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of y'all, man. And yes, I know it's been a minute since I last posted, but don't worry, we got some new stuff in the lab. And on top of that, we'll be live on Twitch at around 8:30 p.m. EST, so if you have any questions or want to stop in and say what's good, I'll see you there. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell, because we got more heat on the way. And with that being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.